The Zelda Timeline is a big meme, and with Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, Nintendo is trying to act like it didn't happen, which I just can't let that slide. So using some memes, I'm going to explain why we specifically should not forget it. For starters, these games only happen if this dude dies, which is so metal. But for Nintendo, it's strange. Like you're telling me if we slay Ganon and Ocarina of Time, we never get a link between worlds? Sorry, buddy. But this side of the timeline has a much bigger problem than that. Let me show you something. And warning, you're about to feel like a dinosaur. Because this ugly ass face is my childhood. You may not like it, but this used to be everything. It was the formula. You make a joke, troll face. You get in trouble, troll face. Nothing to say, troll face. It was the start of memes as we know it, and despite all that, in 2024, it's not really hitting, dude. And that's very similar to the entire downfall timeline, except this one. I like this one. Because in 2024, these are also not really hitting like they used to. Now, wait. I'm not saying these games are bad. I'm saying that what makes a meme has changed a lot, just like games are quite different from what they used to be. Now, back in the day, top-down, 8-bit, hand you a sword in a dream, it was enough. And in 1986-87, a sword in a dream fucking rocked. Uncharted territory, dungeons to delve into, 3-headed dragons to slay, untelegraphed secret tunnels. Why'd they even do that? And sometimes they gave you puzzles, crazy weather, set the scene with some drama, or just Mario in a summer crush, man. But we have come a long way from this era. Nowadays, a meme isn't just a still image, it's a whole ass video. It's usually a snapshot of a pop culture moment that gets shared so much or clowned on so hard that in of itself, it becomes another pop culture moment you got to be there. But cue the music, because this is that Ocarina of Time jump to 3D, baby. What's important to recognize here is that Nintendo made the 5th Zelda game so good that they were like, see this? See, this is fine, because look, you like that one, right? Yeah, well, it's pretty important. And you know what? They were right. This game was the paragon. The puzzles, the combat, the lore. This changed the pace of Zelda forever. Suddenly, a sword in a dream wasn't enough anymore, and it's like, one day we can all just send funny videos to each other, and the meme folder's starting to collect some dust, and a slideshow in your DMs just isn't cutting it. Now I need a sword and a journey. Because look at this. I can just do this because of this one video, because we all know what it means. The whole segment's a meme. And if I threw this up, I don't know, dude. I don't think it's hitting the same. And that's my whole point. For better or worse, Nintendo created something so great that they made it the center of everything. And just like the jump to shareable short form videos, we just can't go back to only sending PNGs. Okay, well, what's the point? How does this tie in? Hang on. Now that we got that out of our way, let's focus on what choice we're gonna make for the remaining 2 timelines. The one where you get relatably traumatized as a kid and then later let out your inner wolfkin to impress your emo girlfriend, or the option where you set sail for the One Piece only to have a midlife crisis about trains. Can we back up for a second? Because it's crazy that these 2 games, which are inarguably some of the darkest titles in tone from all of Zelda, happen because you choose to go back to being a child after Ocarina of Time, which is Deku nuts, because you literally are just a kid living with fairy elf people until the Deku Tree tells you that you have to do the entirety of Ocarina of Time plotline or everyone's fricked. This dude's a 10-year-old who's got to deal with all this in an adult's body, saves the world, puts that shit back, and now nobody even knows what he just did. And that Link dealing with the sense of what now as he's permanently changed in an unseen way is part of the reason he leaves Hyrule in Majora's Mask, feeling that his hero's journey is completed, ultimately leading him to his saga in Termina. And in Twilight Princess, the hero's spirit is all but spelled out to be the remnant of this exact same Link. And this is a real quote from Nintendo about the spirit. Ever since returning to the child era, the swordsman has lamented the fact that he was not remembered as a hero. This is the reason he stayed cracked at the blade, so he could pass down super secret techniques to the Link of this era, addressing him as my boy, end quote. Dude, what? This is way sadder than if he died, because it kind of sounds like the quest ruined the rest of his life. Subscribe so I can unruin my life. But on the other hand, it's Wind Waker time, baby. Which I used to think this timeline happened as an alternative choice where you stay an adult at the end of Ocarina of Time. So it's kind of like a what if or split in realities based off a singular decision, similar to how the Downfall timeline is actually, for real, just a twisted thought experiment asking, hey, what if, we killed this kid? But it's actually more like Future Trunks from Dragon Ball Z leaving behind his timeline, which still existed without him, but the main timeline goes a completely different direction. Sometimes twice. The adult timeline exists in the absence of Link because he chooses to go back to being a kid, and there's not just like another Link that was sleeping somewhere, so there is no other hero. And in this one, Chadendorf busts out of his prison and then bullies the world so hard that he makes the goddesses cry, flooding the world, making the Great Sea. Then there's the red line and the grand line. But the doings of this Link fade to legend. Side note, I remember there was this theory that the Rito were the Zora who just evolved into birds, which is cool, but in the reality where the world is 90% water, why did the fish people stop being fish? And look, I'm rocking with Cass and Sidon, but it's just a funny choice. Wait, this is real? Listen, the Wind Waker goes so hard, man. It may not seem like it now, but the original fan outcry was overwhelmingly negative, with people thinking that this seemingly childish art style would be a major setback for the series after Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Psych! This shit rocks, bro. The game's over 20 years old and still looks sharper than the Master Sword. Matter of fact, they copy-pasted the shell shading into Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And what sucks is that they followed it up with Phantom Hourglass. Which, don't get me wrong, in 2007, I was rocking with Phantom Hourglass. But the end of Wind Waker, you stab Ganon in the face. And now I gotta walk around with a stylus? Wait, hang on. This is kind of cool. Never mind. Why is the one mainline game, I'm not counting these, that we get to play as or with Zelda the one with trains? Yeah. Echoes of Wisdom came out where we play the entire game as Zelda. More on that later, but for now, I'll just kick rocks. But I think Nintendo reduced down what made the Wind Waker great to be the freedom of travel via water and agency to go island to island, and then changed all those mechanics to literally railroad you. Speaking of that, I don't really know why I was using memes earlier, but this is the part of the video where I go off the fucking rails. Because we have to talk about Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, and streamers. And now what I'm saying might as well be from the Twilight Zone. Wrong Twilight Zone. But Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild were a huge step up and massive evolution, but they made it for normies. Wait, I'm just kidding. They're really good. But beyond that, they did something for the series that we just have not seen yet. In this day and age, gaming, and anime for that matter, are just way more chill. You know what I mean? Now, no one needs to gatekeep being a damn nerd, but it was different when Twilight Princess came out and you started watching Shippuden for the first time. You kept that on the DL. But Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom blew that shit wide open. It just is cool, bro. Breath of the Wild is the Zelda game for non-Zelda people, non-Nintendo people. They get it. Now, take a journey with me. Memes are a piece of media that get highly shared with slight variations or whatever. And I think a lot of streamers have figured out their way of entertaining for growth should result in a steady flow of shareable, memeable videos and moments. If they themselves are the product, why you watch, it's like they are the meme. And not in a bad way. These are still humans. They can say something profound, but the core is that they just deliver on the flow of memes, and you ought to be there and watch that shit live. But with Tears of the Kingdom following up Breath of the Wild, Nintendo they ran it back. Breath of the Wild was an evolution on Zelda that the creators have stated that most likely future Zelda games will stick close to, which if you're not new to Zelda, is kind of a big change from what we know. Part of the allure in my eyes is the game-to-game differences in direction and execution. I want more of this.
Dude, that f***ing dog, your number one op.
And I'm not gonna get it, which makes me treasure what I did get a lot more. So just like with memes, us Zelda fans, we're in an interesting spot. But a part of that for Zelda is putting a close on the 25-year-long chapter of the Zelda Timeline. They took a fan concept, made it real, had it center around one of the best games they ever made, punished this Link for being a hero, and then they wrapped it up with a whole bunch of other stuff in between. Oh, unless they make a new game where we play as Zelda and then just put it in the downfall timeline with way more lore implication than anyone would have ever guessed. Which is exactly why the Zelda Timeline is the biggest meme Nintendo has ever made. Like and subscribe.